speak. And from the since the 30th of March this year, the club has grown over 400%, which is just delightful. So on that note, let me hand you over to a gentleman who is our president and leader of the club. He is completely committed to the cause. This is not his first period as president, it's his second year as president. So that goes to show the amount of voluntary work, that key voluntary work that he's putting in to enable the success of this club. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm welcome to your president, Tiger McCandy.
Thank you so much, Kim, for that warm introduction, and welcome everybody once again to Roseburg Speakers and Storytellers. And today is another example of our club's ability to be flexible and to put on a professional meeting. Today we're going to do speeches. We're having a speech-a-thon, 5 speeches, 3 icebreakers. This is going to be awesome. And to facilitate this meeting is a very special lady who came to us several months ago and then started bringing all her friends, and you guys know who I'm talking about because there's about half of you she brought here. She is a DTM. She is an exceptional example of a professional Toastmaster, and I'm so excited that she's going to facilitate this meeting today. Without further ado, I am going to give the virtual podium over to Vicky. Everybody unmute yourself and give Vicky a warm welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that very warm and wonderful introduction. I am excited. Today is the day. It's our famous Speak-a-thon. And are you all ready? Give me a thumbs up. Is everyone ready for this exciting Speak-a-thon? Get ready for a meeting filled with outstanding speakers lined up with speeches that will inspire you. I chose this theme, Untold, because I will be launching my social media page called Untold 8.8. 8.8 means it's my lucky number, and you have to reveal your untold for 8.8 minutes. And in fact, among the speakers and role players, they've given me so interesting, so exciting untold stories that we can never imagine. So let's get moving. But before I introduce our speakers, let me introduce our grammarian, our counter, and timer, because even if we have a speak-a-thon, they are not going to make us escape from the us, from the grammar, and the timing. Let me start with our grammarian. You know that she told me about her untold revelation. She says that for me, a secret others might not know yet is that I cannot drive four-wheelers or cars. Isn't it strange given the fact that she loves traveling so much? She can drive 2-wheelers, but when it comes to 4-wheelers, she gets disoriented, and therefore she doesn't drive because she may get into accident. No, Yasmeen, we won't let you do that. And she says, well, maybe it's not funny, but it's something others don't know. Yasmeen, thank you so much for that untold. Over to you to give us the role that you are going to be doing today. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Today I will be playing the role of grammarian. So I will keep my eyes on the usage of grammars of the speakers, as well as everyone around, whoever will get the chance to speak. It's not table topics, so the speakers, the evaluators, the Toastmasters. And at the same time, it's also the time to introduce the word of the day. I have picked up for you the word of the day as jubilant. Let me try to share my screen. I hope you all can see the screen. So the word of the day stands as jubilant. It's an adjective which is basically about showing great joy, satisfaction, triumph, rejoicing, excellent. Doesn't it fit perfectly with our theme today? So please try to use this word as much as you can, not even one time, but many times. A sentence explaining how we can use it is that a horror film is suddenly not so scary when you switch in jubilant music. So let's switch into our jubilant meeting. With this, I give you back Toastmaster of the Day.
Oh, thank you. Let's all be jubilant today because we're going to have all the role players be jubilant. Let's move on to our counter. Oh my God, this is another interesting story. Alice, you have so much. She's telling us a story from her teenage years. My best friend was in love with a guy from a village near to our town. She wrote a poem for him and we printed flyers with that poem to throw them to his house. We took the bus early in the morning and we went to his home. We threw the flyers with the poem and we disappeared. We don't know what happened next. We had a lot of fun doing that. Oh, Alice, I wish I did that to my puppy love in my early years. Why did you just tell me now? It's too late. Over to you, Alice, to explain the accounter's role.
Hello, Vicky. My friend's crazy. 1971, Deep Purple recorded the tracks for their album Machine Head, but they were 7 minutes short. They needed a filler song. Filler songs are there to fill space in the album. They had one day to do one song, and they created Smoke on the Water. Sometimes fillers can be diamonds. Filler words distract from our messages, but also help us become aware of our thoughts and our feelings. For these diamonds, I will be searching today. Back to you, Vicky. Thank you.
Wow, I love this new creative role of the counter. Let's move on to our timer. Actually, she didn't share with me anything untold because you know why? She will be telling us all about our timing guidelines and she will be sharing with us whether we have overtime or under time. So my dear Kunan, over to you as our timer.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Vicky. As the timer, I'm responsible for monitoring time for each meeting segment and each speaker on previous speech, table topics, and evaluation. I will indicate the time using my stopwatch and my colors, green, yes, sorry, sorry, wait. Green at minimum and yellow at target time and red at maximum. And you have 30 seconds to complete your speech to qualify. For example, for 5 to 7 minute speech, I will show green color at 5 minutes and yellow at 6 minutes and red at 7 minutes. After 30 seconds, I will clap. In order to not miss my timing signals, you can pin me. Also, let me know if you need audible signals. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Vicky.
Thank you. You see, she gave us the untold. She will clap her hands, or if you need audible signals, just contact or message Kunang. Thank you, Kunang. Wonderful. Let's move on. I can't wait. Oh my God. Our first speaker. He will be delivering an engaging humor. I never thought that he will be delivering engaging humor. What a challenge for our dear speaker. Level 1, Project 2, Evaluation and Feedback. It will be his second speech after being evaluated, and he will be evaluated by Toastmaster Nizar Khader. The title of his speech is Mr. John and His Mirror World. Now, the Untold is Mr. John has a magical mirror, and this mirror changed his life forever. In fact, they thought that while Federico was delivering his speech, they thought that he was really doing the role for real. So that was something really amusing, Federico. We can't wait. Kunal, timing is 5 to 7 minutes. Now let's hear from Federico and let's give her a virtual applause. Over to you.
My beautiful mirror, my beautiful mirror. Who is the most beautiful man on earth? Of course it's moi. Who is else is gonna be, my fellows? This is how I look in these days. Of course it's moi. Who is going to be more beautiful than moi? But of course, it was not always like that at all. Not even close. Many years ago, I was the loser guy from the school. The guy that everybody hated. The guy who was the dummy guy in the school that no one could understand. He was the dummy guy who can barely speak any English and can understand nothing. He was the dummy guy that everybody was bullying. Why? Because, hey, I was dumb. And most importantly, I was an emo. Yeah, an emo. One of those guys that in the school, they were bullied a lot. What I can tell you, I used to have one of those random pictures. Let me show you how I used to look like. Of course, this was me. I was an emo, one of those guys who everybody thinks that he's a loser. The guy that no one ever wants to even go for a coffee. Everybody hated me. I was that super dummy guy. So one day I was in one of my dummy adventures as a dummy person in the place when this thing hit me in my head. And I was, what is going on? The life is horrible and this thing hits on my head. I was in a mountain, maybe the life was coming to the end, maybe it was a meteorite that hit on my head, but in fact it was this random mirror. Yeah, you might think it's a phone. No, it's not a phone, it was a mirror in fact. And when this thing was there, I was surprised, it didn't crack. Imagine that huge thing hits in your head. The worst part, I was not able to get rid of this thing. It was attached to my hand. I was throwing it, it ran out. Yeah, I got out of the screen, but this is what happened. I tried to get rid of it. Never got out of my hand. And then the mirror started to speak to me. Loser, move your life. You cannot continue this loser life. If no, what kind of life are you going to have? Do you want to be a programmer with a huge belly, those fatty bellies of only eating pizza and Coke? That's not a life, man, really. To be a programmer with a huge belly, this is a very bad life. You need to move away from these things. And I was, am I getting completely mad? Come on, how a mirror is going to speak to me? A mirror does not have life. The mirrors do not exist, come on. And the mirror was keep speaking to me, telling me more orders. Next week, you need to start going to the gym. That fatty belly need to get out of it. The gym is the first place that you need to start going since tomorrow. And only when I was in the gym, I was able to put this mirror out of my hand when I was lifting the weights, when I was doing something. Then after this thing was teleported back to my hand, I was stuck to me. During the next 3 months, because it was during the summer, these horrible and very warm days that no one likes, especially me. Imagine, come on, I'm kind of white guy. I'm not like a very dark skin. Seriously, the heat is killing me. It's killing me. And I was in the gym, very entertained. When I came back to the school, my colleagues were completely shocked. And they were, who the hell are you? And I was, well, I am Mr. John. What is going on, man? Really, where is your fat belly? Who the hell are you? Well, I am your classmate. You cannot be that loser, man. That loser was completely dead. His future was to sell bananas. If he was lucky, no, someone will buy some tomatoes, because he was terrible in doing anything. You don't look not even close to that loser. Yeah, I completely understand you. So during the following months, the phones continued to give me orders. He told me that I needed to go to speak with my neighbors. I have never spoken with my neighbors. I didn't know how they look like. I was a complete stranger in my own hometown. The phone told me that I needed to go to speak with my neighbors and try to date with one of the nice ladies there, and I was completely afraid. But the phone told me that you will never leave me alone. The mirror was chasing me to every single do that I was doing. Strangely, from being that super loser that everybody hated, I became a kind of regular person in the school. I was not still the best one in everything, but at least the people tolerate me more, because I was not a losing person that no one understood what is going on. During the following years, with the mirror, I started to understand more things. Until this day, I was not able to get rid of the mirror, but the mirror helped me understand myself much better. That is only about who we are, that you can do more, that you cannot be always the loser. The loser is something that you create in your inner self. You are the person who believes that you are the loser because you want to be the loser, not because you are that. You can move away if you start taking actions. Some people might say that I'm still crazy because the mirror still speaks to me. Maybe it's true. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe the mirror is not alive, but hey, the mirror has helped me realize of many other things. And one thing is for sure, the guy who used to be like this is not there anymore, because I decided that the mirror is my friend and is helping me to be a better person. Hopefully, you can stop being that crazy life. And if you know someone else who has been like me, maybe it's time to encourage those people to be not that loser, but in fact, the winner that they deserve to be.
Thank you, Federico. You are never a loser. You're always a winner, and most of that, you're always jubilant. Let's move on to our next speaker. One of my favorite Toastmasters. The purpose of the icebreaker speech is to introduce a speaker, she says to an audience. However, this speech will be a eulogy. A eulogy is a speech given at the funeral about the person who has died. Kim delivered this eulogy recently at her mother's funeral. Kim spoke directly to her mother, Isabella, in her coffin. Listening to the eulogy will not only give an insight into Isabella, but Kim too, particularly her values. Her evaluator is Toastmaster Asil Boyshonba. And over to you, Kim. I can't wait. The virtual screen is yours.
Okay, thank you. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, most welcome guests. You, Isabella Douglas, were born 95 years ago on the 12th of April 1925, Easter Sunday, in Sunderland in the northeast of England. Your mother was named Isabella too, and your father Thomas. You had two older brothers, Stephen and Thomas, and two younger siblings, Stanley and Ellen, both of whom died in infancy. In 1925, the Wall Street crash signaled the beginning of the Great Economic Depression of the 20s and 30s. There were tough times. There was no national health service, no welfare state, and neighbours delivered babies. As if life wasn't harsh enough, in October 1938, you lost your mother. And a year later, on the 3rd of September 1939, the British government declared war on Nazi Germany. As Sunderland was renowned for its glassworks, its shipyards and its coal mines, the town was badly bombed. And living where you lived, you were in the thick of it. 6 years later, in 1945, World War ended, only to be followed by one of the worst winters on record in Britain. And as rationing, including the rationing of coal for fire, did not end until 1954, you and your compatriots froze. In the 1950s, you married my father, Stan Crosby. You had your eldest son, Tom, and within 21 months, you had twin boys, Stan and Ian. And 5 years after that, I was born. You loved to cover your babies in kisses, and despite being on a minuscule income, you always wanted the best for your family. Fast forward now to the millennia years, because when aging and becoming frail, I decided to bring you down to live with me, then near me, at Darwin House sheltered accommodation in central London. It was the best decision that I have ever made, because 22 Darwin House is light, south-facing, and it overlooks the River Thames. We had found heaven on earth. And having moved to London, the fun started. There was visits in your wheelchair to Buckingham Palace and Westminster Abbey and St. Paul's Cathedral. There was outings to the ballet, opera, and theatre. And there was parties galore at Darwin House and Pullen Daycare Centre. That said, after having a cardiac arrest in January 2008, you changed. Because instead of being vibrant, enjoying life, and always singing, you became quiet, serious, and no longer sang. Later that year in October, the success of a hip replacement operation was compromised by you suffering a string of life-threatening infections. And despite best efforts, you became increasingly frail. When you were hospitalized 11 weeks ago, the consultant told me that when a person is coming to the end of their life, one of the last senses they lose is their ability to hear. So clearly, loudly, and repeatedly, I said this to you, that inside and out, you are the most beautiful lady in the world. Petite with small hands and small feet, you have large blue eyes and skin like alabaster. You had an enviable hourglass figure with a tiny 21-inch waist. An intelligent lady full of common sense and an independent thinker, you always stood up for the underdog. You are courageous, resilient, and a fighter. Authentic, honest, and fair, you are a superb conversationalist and a compelling storyteller. And given the life challenges that you have endured, you are an outstanding human being and an outstanding mother. I also made this promise to you, that I will always care for you, that I will always protect you, and that I will always love you. After I said those words, a tear appeared in your left eye, so I captured the tear on this tissue. But as soon as I dabbed the tear away, another would appear. You were crying inside. Then, despite wanting to live, 10 weeks ago, you slipped away from us. So to end, what have I learned from your life story, Mum? Firstly, that I have the greatest respect for you and people like you who have lost a mother in childhood, because you have gone through life without a mother's love, support, and guidance. Secondly, I respect the resilience of you and people of your generation who have lived through the Great Depression of the 20s and 30s, 6 years of World War, and 14 years of rationing. And lastly, the biggest learning of all is about love. Because when you take an interest in another person, care for them and envelope them in love, they blossom. Like a beautiful English rose, you blossomed. Isabella Crosby. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for that lovely eulogy. Actually, you know her Untold. Today is Kim's birthday. Happy birthday, Kim! Mwah! So we will sing after the meeting. We will sing a long happy birthday song for you. So given that Kim's mother gave birth to her, it is appropriate that Kim recognizes her beautiful mother on this particular day. Love you, Kim. Thank you for that beautiful speech. I've seen some of you crying. I'm going to vote, by the way, for the best expressive listener. Before I turn over to our president, I will be watching you. Vice President Education, IU, can you also observe with me who is the best expressive listener? Now, those who have not put on their video, it's their problem because I'm always seeing the same picture, no expression. All right? Let's move on to our third speaker, researching and presenting. The title is Storytelling Behind Data. Her evaluator is Toastmaster Amanda Swartz. Her Untold. When I started visiting a Toastmaster club, I was terrified about table topics. Who wasn't? I always sat in the very last row of the room in order to not be selected. Very clever, Sara. Afterwards, when I became a member, I got a role every meeting in order to be safe and not to be picked as a table topic speaker. Double clever. Nowadays, I'm okay with impromptu speeches, but they are still a challenge. Over to you, dear Toastmaster Sara. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Dear Toastmasters, most welcome guests. Some days ago, I started to read some statistic books and I found a quotation that I really liked. It is about numbers. Numbers do not speak by themselves. We are responsible for giving them a meaning. It is from Nate Silver. And then I start to think that we are living in the jubilant information age, in the age of communication, where new ideas, movements, and concepts change our life on a daily basis. So I was wondering if I can be, as a speaker, as student, as business worker, an effective communicator of data, or how could I improve and how could I learn new techniques? I found that there's a new concept called data storytelling. And the difference with the normal storytelling is that for data storytelling, we always have a problem to solve or a decision to make. So we have to provide our audience with the tools or the guidance so that they can do the right decision. For this, I will show you the 5 main elements of data storytelling. Then I will show you an example of a renamed TED speaker. And finally, I will give you some recommendations for your next data presentation. Let me show my screen. Okay, I think now it's visible. Here are the 5 elements of data storytelling. First, we have a setting. The setting is the situation, the whole information that we have, all the data, all the questions, and the problem that we have. And then we have the characters. And in the characters, we always ask ourselves, who are the key players? The key players are always the audience. Please don't forget that. If you prepare a narrative for the presentation, please use it for the characters and not for the data. Then we have the conflict. The conflict is the list of the questions that our audience could have in order to solve that problem. If we have a good visualization, we can already start answering those questions with pieces of evidence that are contained in that visualization. Then we have a plot where we can link all the answers together, or if we have several visualizations, then we can use the link or the logical story between them in order to get to the answer of the main problem. And in the center we have the theme, which is the decision with all the information we need to achieve this solution. That means the decision, but also the information that supports that decision. Sometimes we don't have a very evident problem or a theme. In this case, the visualization with all the information, with the data, etc., that's our theme. Next, I will show you an example. I will show you an example that is always used by Hans Rosling, a very important TED speaker. I really encourage you to see some of his talks, because he's presenting very difficult data in a very simple way. And he always do these 5 steps in this order. He starts with a question. In my example, we have the topic, which is water, and how much water do you really need? And then we have a data background, which is in this visualization. You know that our body is more than 65% water, our blood is 90% water, and it's already analyzed or said by the scientists that we need around 8 glasses water per day. But if you want to be more specific, you need 1 glass per 20 pounds of body weight. So then we have, in general, we have an interesting visualization with some colors, with some of the benefits of drinking water. And we also need to have a very well done story coordinated with the data. In this case, I will share my personal experience. When I wake up and drink water, I feel that I'm more prepared in order to start very difficult tasks, because I think that my brain is well hydrated. And also when I do some sport, I try to be hydrated before the sport so I can perform better. Also before each meal, if I drink water, I prevent myself not to eat too much, and that helped me to not to gain too much weight. Some other benefits of drinking water are here, but I won't mention them because of time. What I can tell you is that drinking water is really important. We can survive 3 weeks without eating anything, but only 3 days without drinking water. I hope this example was useful for you. Then I will give you some recommendations for your next data presentation. Maintain the presentation always clear and simple so that the people can understand it and then remember and be called to action. Use interesting visualizations that summarize all the data, but with nice colors and very visual. And for the next time you see some article, advertisement, infographic, etc., try to find these 5 elements that I just told to you, and try to ask yourself, what are they trying you to do? What's the decision behind, so that you can improve your own storytelling. And if you're interested for this topic, which is very wide, I really encourage you to look for those experts in statistics, David Spiegelhalter, for dynamic graphics, and TED speaker Hans Rosling, and for data visualization, Alberto Cairo. I hope this was useful for you. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sara. It's very interesting because she spoke about data storytelling. That could actually, I could use that for my social media page. Number two, I drink water before I brush my teeth. I use the Japanese water therapy, and I feel that my skin has improved really, and I feel having more energy. So try that. I'm just starting to drink a tall glass of water, but next time I'll do a 1.5 glasses and then 2 glasses. Anyway, we're all staying at home, so it doesn't matter even if you keep going to the, to the restroom, that's fine, but you are cleansing yourself. Thank you, Sara. Data storytelling. Let's move on to our next icebreaker speech, who is a real good friend of mine. She has been with me. She's not, oh yeah, okay, she has appeared because she hasn't appeared before the speech. You're there, oh yeah, right? Okay. She is going to give her icebreaker, presentation mastery. Her evaluator is Toastmaster Tiger. Her untold story is being in Toastmasters for 17 years. She has been enjoying the journey and she feels like she had just joined yesterday. She's still addicted. She always calls herself the Toastaholic and enjoying the journey. Let's hear from Alia Haddad, who will be delivering her icebreaker speech. Let's all give her a big round of applause. Over to you.
A warm welcome from Amman, Jordan, to all of you, the city I was born in. As you can see in the background is the citadel. Amman is the city of the Dead Sea, Petra, Jarash. It's a beautiful place. I hope that you all can visit one day. I was lucky. I was born to educated parents. They both spoke 3 languages, Arabic, English, and French. At the age of 4, we moved to Lebanon, Beirut, and the memories, the untold stories all came to my mind when I heard of the big explosion in Lebanon. It's so heartbreaking and sad. After that, we came back to Amman and I enrolled in a Catholic school. The discipline, the integrities, and the values, along with the languages, the Arabic and French and the English, still linger in my mind. At the age of 17, I traveled to the US to pursue a degree in business administration, specializing in marketing. After I finished studying, I felt so homesick, so I came back to Amman. I started working at a bank. A gentleman came to the bank to get a loan. He was the friend of the CEO. So he saw me walking in the corridor and he asked, "Who's she?" He was told, "Who am I?" He got my file, and a couple months later, he's still paying for that, I guess. Now, after 38 years, I can tell you we have 3 beautiful boys from Miguel, Montreal, Canada. The 3 of them are engineers, electrical, and the youngest is software engineer. And we have 2 amazing grandkids. We love them, they are adorable. Lately, we decided that we're getting old, so we told our youngest son that he has to come back, and he's here now in Jordan, enjoying the food and the warmth of the family, and will be starting work soon. After my kids went to the university, I decided I wanted to go back to work. So I started teaching at the universities. I taught for 12 years, but lately I decided enough. I want to enjoy my life. Joining Toastmasters since 17 years was an added value to my life. Meeting jubilant people, amazing friends, many untold stories. I mean, when I think about it, my best friends are from Toastmasters, and one of them is here today. One of them is Vicky, who I value her friendship. Being in Toastmasters is not only fulfilling, but with and through Toastmasters, I visited many clubs around the world. I have many friends from around the world. Every time I go to a place, a new place, I look for Toastmasters clubs and I visit them. I have many friends from Montreal. I have many friends from Toronto. And now I have the friends in RSS. Being in Toastmasters and thinking about your speeches brings to the table many untold stories. These stories can really unfold if you work on yourself, if you work on communication and leadership skills. And thinking back, how many things I gave up on life. 2 things actually I didn't give up on: my husband and Toastmasters. So my dear friends, if you're new on your journey, hold on, keep on going, keep on moving. Toastmasters can be a word of not only excitement, but value and continuous learning. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much for that very encouraging words to our guest. Yasmeen, I think you should take Alia and ask her to be a member now so that she can keep promoting for RSS. Wonderful, my dear best friend. Let's move on to the last but not the least speaker. She is Rebecca Lundberg, and she will be evaluated by our Toastmaster Michelle Albalim, who has weak connection, so she cannot show me her expressive listening. The title of her speech is "The Day I Broke My Father's Heart," and she told me, this is my Untold, so just better listen to the Untold. I don't need to give you more Untolds. Rebecca, we can't wait to listen to "The Day I Broke My Father's Heart." The virtual screen is yours. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Thank you, everybody. Good morning. I'm going to be sharing a quote from my father. He said, when we were younger, he says, "I am not a wealthy man. When I die, all that I will leave behind is my good name. So please take care of it the way I have taken care of it from my father and his father, your grandfather." So let me take you back when I was 16 years old. It's martial law in the Philippines. My father was the commanding general of the Philippine Air Force, and one of his responsibilities was to protect the airspace of the Philippines, including all its islands, the 7,100 islands from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Everyone knew him as a strict, honest, and fair man. Now, I'm the eldest of 7 children and the only girl. And people knew me as the general's daughter. And I am supposed to be his favorite. Well, even if I knew that, I followed his rules and my mother's rules in the house strictly. Always careful not to be on his bad side. In short, I was a really good girl. It was during this time that I would get invited to parties from people I knew and didn't know. Now I'm 16. I wondered why all the invites. People knew I was not allowed to go anywhere because my parents were so strict. But since it's martial law, I think the reason they wanted or they were inviting me was because they knew I had access to curfew passes. And so came that one day in October, 1974, the brother of a classmate of mine approached me in school. I knew him, but that's all. He asked me, Rebecca, I need your help for the airport. Now, it wasn't unusual for people to ask me since they knew who my father was. And I'd help them meet or send off their relatives because the airport was very strict. So I always was willing to help. He tells me that his cousin was arriving from Europe and if I would please help facilitate her arrival. Now that means customs and immigration. So I said, okay. Now, how many suitcases? And he said, 10. 10? And then he says, don't worry, they're all personal effects. No contraband. I said, oh, okay. And then I'll call my dad's office and let them know. And he says, please, don't mention it to your father. I don't want him to think that I'm always asking for favors. And so, you know, it didn't dawn on me because I'm 16. So I said, oh, okay, no problem. Now, for your trouble, he says, I will give you 3,000 pesos per luggage. I said, what? Yes. So I started multiplying my head. That's 30,000 pesos. Now, I'm 16. I have no money. I felt, oh, I'm going to be rich. Well, so I called my father's aide and I said, I need assistance to have this friend of mine met at the airport and she's arriving via Air France flight so-and-so. I gave him her name. The day of their arrival came and I am at the airport because I'm thinking, oh, 30,000 pesos, you know. The passenger is met and escorted to immigration first. The aide points her out to me, you know, that way, says, that's her. And I was puzzled because I was told 10 luggages. Now this lady had 4 rolling carts filled with luggages. And each luggage was 3 times the size of a regular luggage. So I said, I've never seen luggages that size. And I said, no, I don't think that's her. And then that can't be her. And he says, he later confirmed it was the right passenger. I was flabbergasted. And at around this time, I heard his walkie-talkie buzz. He answers it and I thought I heard my dad's voice. Can't be because he's in a meeting. True enough, the aide says, ma'am, the general wants to talk to you. And I said, huh? Where? And he says, look up to the 2nd floor. As I looked up, I see my father with 2 officers looking at me. And he points to me and motions me to come to his office this way. I go right away. And he says, when I got to the office, he's only thing he asked me, how much did they offer you? And I was pale, nervous, and I said, I told him everything. I told him how much and everything. And he said, do you know that even before they approached you, they already approached my deputy and offered him 10 times the money that they offered you. So he says, people will always try to get to him. And if they can't get to him, they will approach his children. He then paused and gave me a long, sad look. And right then and there, I knew. The heartache for him was finding out that I agreed to the offer. He didn't raise his voice, but was very clear when he said that people will try to bribe me just because I'm his daughter. And that day was just the beginning. He made me promise when the next time comes, because he says, the next time, there will be a next time. I want you to think of me. I cried. As I look back, I see now that his sadness was from the realization that his providing for us on an officer's salary seemed not enough. Because why else would his daughter fall prey to smugglers for money? He only wanted the best for us. I have kept that promise to my dad. Today, he is 93 years old and still very sharp and with a memory of an elephant, but he has never told that incident to anyone except to my mom. By the way, he ordered customs to open all the luggages and made sure I was present and watched it all. The contents were not personal effects, but luxury goods from Christian Dior, Yves Saint Laurent, Ferragamo, Cartier, Fendi, Rolex. And they were ordered to pay customs duties, taxes, and all that was not declared was confiscated. So back to you, Madame Toastmaster.
Thank you. Very, very interesting story of the Untold. Rebecca, glad that you were able to get out of that situation. Otherwise, I won't find you here in the States, for God's sake. Now, let's move on and ask our timer. Miss Timer, Kunang, can you please give us very quickly the timer's report?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster today, Vicky. As the timer, now I'm giving my timing report. First, speaker Kim, 6 minutes, and sorry, I want to turn off my van. I'm sorry. The first is Kim's 6 minutes.
Federico, sorry, Federico, Kunang.
Wow, I'm sorry.
It's okay, dear.
Yes. Federico, 6 minutes and 18 seconds. Kim, 6 minutes and 16 seconds. Sara, 7 minutes and 25 seconds. Elia, 5 minutes and 36 seconds. Rebecca, 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear timer Kunang. Good job. Now let's move on to the evaluators. Now that we have listened to all our awesome speakers, let's ask the evaluators to do their job. And let's all be jubilant. Now Nizar, actually, Toastmaster Nizar, shared with me his Untold. Did you know, he says, that marriage increases weight for men? I gained 20 kilos in my first year of marriage. What did you do, Nizar? 20 kilos. It's unforgivable. So the advice, if you want to gain weight, find yourself a soul partner. Over to you, Toastmaster Nizar, to evaluate our first speaker, Federico Navarrete.
Thank you very much, Vicky. What I like the most about Federico's performance is the new style of Federico. I couldn't believe the humorous style and how Federico were challenging himself in performing an exceptional performance. What I like the most about Federico, his unusual beginning and grabbing our attention using a storytelling technique with a humorous flavor. He was sharing with us the untold journey of transforming himself during the school to the best version of himself, while throwing some facts and jokes about himself. And what I like about you, Federico, we were laughing with you. We were not laughing at you. This is a very good technique that you used during your storytelling. The third thing that I like the most, it's not an empty, humorous speech. It ended with a very good conclusion. It's about accepting ourselves and to be the winner we want to be, not the loser that we think we are. I really admire you for that. And I know you are a DTM and you are waiting some areas to improve and to challenge yourself for the upcoming speeches. Number one, I felt that a little bit there is a space between you and the mic. Yani I couldn't hear some words that I couldn't hear, and a little bit your voice was far away. So maybe next time you would consider a mic or closing the camera to yourself. It's up to you to figure this. And the second thing, what I could felt personally, in my personal opinion, I would advise you to giving yourself the time in every moment in your speech. I felt somehow that you were in a rush that impacted somehow your pace and impacted your body language. For example, when you started with a very nice beginning, I'm looking at the beautiful mirror and it was very fast, it was very quick. I would love that you say, I am looking to my beautiful mirror, and then jumping very smoothly to your storytelling techniques. What also about the pace that I like, that I notice? For example, you could use the pace and your body language when you were explaining, when you decide to go to the gym under the summer and the heat were everywhere, and you go back to school and they look at you and they say, wow, is that John that we saw before? So you could play a little bit with your pace and your body language. You would be taking it to the next level. Other than that, I really loved your speech. I really loved the new style of Federico. Please, I would love this new style again of Federico with the new stories. And looking forward to your upcoming speeches. Thank you, Federico.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluator. And wow, I also like your new style, Nizar, Mumtaz. Now let's move on to our next evaluator who will be evaluating our dear birthday celebrant, Kim. And Asil's untold secret is that, you know, Vicky, I tell people that they shouldn't take anything personally, but I don't follow my own advice. And don't take life so seriously. Learn to laugh at the little things, be amused by your mistakes and failures, and be thankful that you learned your lesson and won't mess up like that again. Most importantly, do things that you enjoy. Fellow Toastmasters, let's welcome our evaluator for Sara's speech, none other than another favorite Toastmaster of mine, Toastmaster Asil Boyshanba. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the evening. Vicky? Giving a eulogy can be emotionally challenging, especially when you recently lost your mother. Dear Kim, my condolences. There is no right or wrong way to write a eulogy. And the eulogy is about the person, but as for the audience, and we are grateful that what you said about your mother was uplifting and inspiring. Thank you. In the sense of bringing your mother to life in our imagination, you did that by telling the story about your mother, Isabella, in a chronological way, and you spoke to your mother directly. We learned where your mother was born, about her parents, how many brothers and siblings she had, and unfortunate that she lost her mother. Then about the World War time and that she got married and delivered twin brothers and our dear Kim. Kim, you definitely made the best decision to bring your mother to live with you. You're the most beautiful mother who was cheerful and used to sing a lot before the cardiac attack. And I believe that you have her kind blue eyes. Then you shared your promises to her and the lessons you learned from your mother. You even captured her tears on that napkin. Dear Kim, thank you that you brought your mother to life in our imagination. We are honored to get to know your mother, who always stood up and who was a compelling storyteller. We thank her for bringing you to life, and now we are a part of your life through this wonderful club. Your mother will be forever remembered. Happy birthday, Kim.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Asil. Let's move on to our next evaluator, Amanda Schwartz. Her Untold story is about a kind Toastmaster colleague who told her to breathe. It sounds so simple, but until I was told to relax and breathe, I think I just gasped and gulped my way very quickly to the end of each speech, not thinking about anything but remembering the lines, just holding my breath and rushing to finish. Only when I sat down did I start breathing normally again. Such basic and fundamental advice. So, fellow Toastmasters, according to Amanda, remember to breathe. Let's go breathing! Amanda, over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Toastmaster of the morning. And thanks, Sara, for making data exciting and enjoyable. Who knew? What did I hear? Well, I heard Sarah's very mellifluous tone, confident. She spoke with knowledge and authority and gravitas, and we felt we were in safe hands. I loved her personal story that I heard to demonstrate what she was saying. What would I like to have heard here from Sara? Well, I think I would have liked a few pauses just dotted throughout all of that information. There was a lot to take in. So think about that, Sara. What did I see? Well, Sara is a confident speaker. She delivered it beautifully. She had 3 very good slides explaining and demonstrating her data storytelling techniques. There were some useful gestures too, when she was talking about the pointing to things that reinforced what she was saying. My recommendation here is less is more. Slides 1 and 3 were really accessible. They were simple, but I found slide 2 a little crowded. And so think about how you can make your slides much simpler. The less there is on a slide, the better it is for your audience. And then what did I feel? Well, I felt relaxed because Sara's confidence about data storytelling really put me at ease. I'm not tech savvy, data savvy, so I was a little bit worried, but I didn't have to worry here. Sara made it really accessible for all of us, whether we're tech savvy, data savvy or not. I really would have liked to have felt some of Sara's excitement and her passion for her subject. We know that she is really passionate about this, but it didn't come across quite so well here. So think about how you can inject some excitement, some passion, some jubilance even into the speech. Sometimes smiling does that. When you smile and speak, your voice changes. And so if you're speaking with an impassioned tone and you're smiling, we will feel that energy, we will feel the passion. But in summary, I thought this was an excellent speech, well judged, good slides to help us understand the techniques of storytelling. I raise my glass and drink the small amount I have here to Sara. Please, more of the same, Sara.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amanda. Let's move on to our next evaluator. Actually, is the last but not the least evaluator, our dear President Toastmaster Tiger. So let me share with you his untold story. When I was in my 20s, I lived with 3 men who were professionals, called the Quality Bluegrass Musicians. They used to play at night around the campfire as we lived in the woods. They needed a bass player, and so I took informal lessons with them all summer. In September, we were invited to play at a friend's wedding. I therefore can state that I was a professional musician. And then he adds, LOL. So, over to you, our professional musician, Toastmaster Tiger.
The key word being LOL there. Thank you so much, Vicky. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Am I on? Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you so much, Aaliyah, for that jubilant speech. The whole idea of the icebreaker is for us to get to know you better. And I had on gallery view the whole time, people were engaged and do we know you better? I absolutely believe we know you better. And Vicky's even going, yes, of course we do. A lot of likable things about your speech, Aaliyah. First of all, I felt like I was sitting in your living room on a couch, drinking my coffee, just having a casual conversation with you. You started out with that visual about your home. This is, I'm coming to you from my home in Amman, Jordan. And then you gave a very linear speech about your life. And I'm very linear. I'm a scientific linear thinker. So for me, that worked really well. You did the highlights of your life. There are some things that as a 17-year Toastmaster, yeah, we wish we were all 17, right? That there are some recommendations I have because you have a wonderful presence, but I think what you could do to improve your speech and make it more engrossing, engaging, is to be more animated. And there are several things that you can do to make that happen. Voice inflection. When you talked about Beirut, it was obvious that there was emotion. Your words indicate emotion, but your gestures didn't really indicate a lot of emotion. You speak at a very casual pace. I would suggest that you change things up. speed up sometimes, slow down sometimes, just to engage us some more. The other thing you might want to try is standing up. I can't speak sitting down, so I always stand up. And it allows for more gestures and things. I know a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. The biggest thing I would encourage is more animation, because your storytelling is excellent. Your speaking is excellent. You use simple language. You're very casual, very easy to listen to. The other thing, your conclusion, you said some great things. Real quick, let me set a couple quotes that I really like. Toastmasters bring to the table many untold stories. I love that. And you talked about in Toastmasters, I've made very many friends, and now I have more friends here at RSS. I love those kinds of things. You're very simple, but your conclusion, you talked about Toastmasters only, whereas your speech was about your whole life. So in your conclusion, it could have been a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more encompassing. I enjoyed your speech. I would just encourage you to be more animated, more like Vicky. Thank you so much. Back to our Toastmaster, Vicky.
Toastmaster Tiger, thank you so much. I was actually expecting you to say, I would encourage you to be a member of RSS, but of course that wasn't included in your evaluation. Now, this lady who is on cloud 9, she actually said, hey, Vicky, Tiger is not the last evaluator, I'm the last evaluator. So let me tell you about her untold story, which she just told me 2 minutes back. Of course, we all know about her love story with Dave and how she is enjoying her new life. Do you know that she's never in Oregon. She's all over the place except in Oregon. And she's traveling around with Dave in beautiful sceneries. How romantic. With the Lance camper. Don't you see? She's blooming. And I don't know who she's sticking the tongue to, but Michelle, we are on camera. So over to you, our evaluator for Rebecca Lundberg, Toastmaster Michelle Alba Lim.
Thank you so much, Vicky. I just sent Vicky a very short note and she just made it beautiful. You're amazing. Wow, Rebecca. I was glued listening. Was that an icebreaker? It sounded like one of those cliffhanger. I knew there was a plot developing there when you started by sharing your father's quote. I love that quote, that there is really, he doesn't have much wealth to leave, but he wants to leave his good name and he wants you to develop that and take care of it. I love that. I also liked your sense of humor. Like, why inviting you when you were 16? Oh yeah, because they had access to curfew passes, and that brought me back myself to my martial law days. Wow. Your facial expression. Some of the other speakers had been advised to be more expressive. I don't need to advise you with that, because when you were talking about something, your face would show it. I could see, even if I muted you, I would see your face showing the conflict or the turmoil or the excitement or the jubilation. So great facial expression. And then you added to the facial expression, you had vocal variety. For an icebreaker, wow, you already had highs and lows. So that was a great icebreaker, considering that you were leaving us in suspense for so long before you finally agreed, okay, I will deliver an icebreaker. It was well worth the wait. And now some suggestions, really not for the icebreaker, because your icebreaker was definitely fabulous. It's more for suggestions for the future. One of them is time management. I knew you had warned us before the meeting started that you had edited and edited and edited, and this was it. You could not edit further, otherwise it would lose the message. Still, 8 minutes and 12 seconds is more than, yeah, it's a bit longish. So you could work on shortening to stay within the time. And how do you do that? Well, my suggestion is details. Some of the details you could leave out. For example, Kunang was so gently saying red, 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 and you were still adding Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, and all that. Some of us may not even know who those guys were. It could be the boxes, the luggage contained expensive designer brands, period. We don't have to hear about all those details. And then pacing. Sometimes you could speed up. You could say, and then we had all of these big boxes all over the place, and we could just imagine it without having all of those details. And I need to take my own advice because I am now running short of time. So in summary, that was an amazing icebreaker, entertaining, and very enlightening about yourself. So back to you, Madame Toastmaster.
Thank you to our loved up Toastmaster Michelle. You always amaze me when you evaluate a Toastmaster. Let's move on now to the much awaited grammarian. Who is afraid? Are you still afraid of the four-wheeler drive? Because I wanted to lend you my four-wheeler drive, Yasmeen, when you come to California, but I won't do that. Over to you, Yasmeen.
Thank you very much. I need not say that, as always, our speeches and speakers were so rich in their language, in their grammar usage. But still, I would like to highlight a couple of phrases just for us to refresh ourselves. To begin with, Federico, the dummy guy. Where is the dummy guy? he used the repetitively, he used the repetitions. So he made his speeches beautiful by using the simple word, but repetitively. So dummy, fatty belly, very nice. Water, I think he repeated quite a lot of time, but just because I know his first language is Spanish, just try to see if you can, get clinch of the English, sort of accent, because we can feel that in your accent is still a little bit of Spanish. I think if I'm not wrong, at one point I heard you saying, I'm going to gym since tomorrow. I guess it should be, I'm going to gym from tomorrow. So just one consideration. For Kim's eulogy, I would really not justify if I will have to say that how rich her speech was in terms of all the adjectives and adverbs she used for her mother. I mean, really, it was very, very rich in the sense of vocabulary, but still I will just pick up outstanding, because as she rightly said, outstanding human being, and outstanding was the mother. The love that she had to cover the babies with the kisses. So those kisses will remain with you, Kim. For Sara, I think she did an excellent job to incorporate the word of the day, jubilant, and in prepared speech, it's done excellently. Her language was very clear. I do not have any comment on the grammar, except for one point where I noticed that she's making reference to things without using prepositions. For example, 8 glasses of water. You just said 8 glasses water. It was continuously flowing. So just watch out if there are prepositions in between. So moving to Alia, the toastaholic. Toastaholic is a nice word. She indeed incorporated the word of the day, jubilant, again in the speech, in a prepared speech, which is in fact reflection of her seasoned Toastmaster. Very rich usage. She even incorporated the theme of the day, the untold story, a couple of times in her speech. Friends from around the world. Discipline, integrity, and value. So Toastmasters is about value and continuous learning. Thank you for passing on that message so clearly, Alia. Rebecca, the generous daughter with 30,000 pesos. Very nice and clarity of grammar. I really quoted a lot of good proverbs, but I couldn't pick up a lot of them. But yeah, some was the one that stick well, like the memory of an elephant, and there will be always a next time. Nizar, where is the guy who increased his weights with marriage? putting on weight with marriage.
Here.
Yeah, the untold story. So in your evaluation, you used the theme of the day. At one point, I just noticed you missed on the apostrophe, like you were making reference to Federico, just saying Federico performance, but it should be Federico's performance. So just watch on the apostrophes. And yes, the most important message from you, laughing with you, but not laughing on you. That was your message for Federico. So well done. Asil, be amused by your own mistakes and failures. Mother will be forever remembered. Those were your closing words, and beautifully woven words, Asil. Very good usage of language. I did not notice any language discrepancy. For Amanda, I think she uses the formation of questions in her evaluation, which makes it different. What did I hear? What did I see? What did I feel? So how you can phrase questions while evaluating to reinforce less is more and inject jubilance in our speech. So use of the word of the day. Tiger, the professional musician, was very jubilant. He used the word of the day. He used a couple of good and for me, new words. So I don't even know those words. I could not write it down, but I remember linear speech, engrossed. So well done. So for Michelle, she also used a couple of words I've never heard before, like cliffhanger. So these are words adding to my vocabulary. Jubilant, indeed, she used the word of the day. This is pretty much on my notes. In case I have missed anyone, excuse me in usage of words. I'm going to come to Vicky just to say expressive listener was a very good term. If you have never heard of an expressive listener, use word of the day 3 to 4 times. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Yasmeen, for that wonderful report. Now let's move on to our counter. My favorite untold storyteller, Alice, where are you?
Hello, Vicky. I'm here. I did one. We have Federico, Kim, Alia, Tiger, and Michelle with no filler words. We have Vicky with repetitive and so, Sara with 9 R's and 3 M's, Rebecca with 2 M's, Nizar with 1 A and repetitive words, I, what, and, Asil with 1 A, and repetitive words, and you, and Yasmeen with 7 A's and 7 S. Thank you.
Thank you. Very thorough, Miss Accounter. Now let's move on to Kunang, our charming timer. Kunang, can you give the report, all the report for the day? Over to you.
Yes, thank you, Vicky. Yes, I'm giving my timing report. First evaluator, Nizar, 3 minutes and 36 seconds. Asil, 3 minutes. Amanda, 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Tiger, 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Michelle, 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster today. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now it's time to hear from our special general evaluator, one of the most charming Toastmasters I've ever met. And her untold is, you know, Vicky, I earned a triple crown in 2019, but I was new, and my Vice President Education did not pay attention to that. It was not logged in the system. Hence, it was never awarded to me. Such a bummer. I agree with you, Toastmaster Shilpa, such a bummer. But let's not be bummers today. Move on to your general evaluation. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm sure everyone enjoyed the meeting as much as I did. Yes, you can all hear me. Vicky, this was a fabulous meeting with your enthusiasm. Lots of untolds. We get to know each person better. It started on time with Tiger setting the tone, correct, with welcoming our guests, making them feel at home. Kim continued the tradition of giving us a history of Toastmasters and telling us what it is all about. Also letting our guests and us remind us about history of RSS Club. Soon after that, this was a different meeting than usual. We dived into the speeches and each of the speaker brought in rich variety with their speeches. They give us many insights, many messages. Before that, we had our role players, key role players that are very important in running this meeting successfully, like Alice. She was jubilant as our counter while she shared us the expectations on filler words. Wow, what an innovative way to give us the idea about that role. Yasmeen, she gave us a good word that was used continuously in the meeting, jubilant, not too hard to use and all at the same time, not a very common one. Good going on that. Yasmeen later followed by a very thorough report on what everyone said well. But as Tiger said, I would reiterate that less is more. And when we know that the meeting is running late, we should all try to be on the green side of the timer's clock rather than the red side of the timer's clock. That happened with the speakers and the evaluators, everyone. And I'm sure Michelle gave that message very well, that we need to manage our times very well as Toastmasters. Kanang did a very good job as timer. She always gives those signals which are a level above what we expect from her. So good going on that. As always, Kanang, you brought in your special touch to the role. The speeches have been evaluated by our very able evaluators. Nizar, he summed up the positives point-wise, and he also reinstated the very meaningful message given by Federico. That is a sign of a good evaluation where he gives suggestions along with the examples to go by. We can all learn from that. Asail's demeanor was very calm and she conveyed the feelings that came to our heart after Kim's speech. Amanda, as Yasmeen said, the perfect way to give an evaluation about hearing, seeing, and feeling. Tiger, yes, animation is important and conclusions are. We'll all keep that in mind going forward in our speeches. So overall, a very good meeting where we take home many good points in learning things, learning pointers with us. Good going, Vicky, for running the show perfectly and all the people who fill the roles to the T. Just that we are running a little late on this meeting today. I would like to hand over the stage back to Vicky, and I hope we continue to do the good work.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator Shilpa, for that very, how do you say, cohesive and very frank evaluation with the positive note. Really, I appreciate that. And now let's move. I don't want to go, talk more. Let's now turn or give the virtual screen to our Mr. President, Tiger. Thank you so much to the role players and the audience. Thank you.
And thank you everybody for sticking with us, even though we went a little bit over time. Everyone is still engaged. I'm looking at the gallery and looking and seeing that all you guys are still engaged. I greatly appreciate that. Yeah, please stick around after the meeting. I would love to get some input from our guests and our members. But at this point, I am going to officially adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much.